Think ghosts are scary? Try something that isn't supposed to exist, not from this world, not from this dimension. People are seeing things, impossible things, twisted versions of our reality, beings that shouldn't be here, but are. You can't run, you can't fight, and once you see them, they remember you. I'm Disturbing Jack, and these are disturbing encounters with beings from a parallel universe. I don't know where to begin. I've typed and deleted this story more times than I can count. Not because I'm unsure of what happened, but because once you read this, you'll start seeing things too. It started 6 months ago during what should have been a completely normal week. I was between jobs doing freelance tech support out of my apartment in Portland. Quiet guy, pretty normal routine. Coffee at 9, fix someone's busted router by noon, then scroll Reddit or binge weird YouTube rabbit holes until 2 a.m. I've always been a sucker for fringe science and glitch in the matrix stuff, but nothing I ever read could have prepared me for what I saw. It was a Wednesday. Rainy, overcast, standard Pacific Northwest weather. I went out for a walk to clear my head. That's when I saw her. She was sitting on a bench by the park wearing a yellow raincoat, no umbrella. Head down, still, almost frozen. I wouldn't have even noticed her, except every dog that walked past stopped dead in their tracks and stared at her. Barked once, then moved on like nothing happened. It was weird enough that I slowed down and looked. She looked up, and I swear to God, for a split second, her face was mine. Not like mine. Mine. Same eyes, same small scar above the lip, same confused expression I felt rising in my own gut. But then she blinked, and it was someone else, not even close to me anymore, just a stranger again. I chalked it up to a trick of the light or some uncanny resemblance, but that night I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying that moment, her eyes, her expression, the sheer wrongness of it. And then I remembered something else. She wasn't getting wet. No rain hit her coat, no droplets on the bench, just dry. The next day I went back. She wasn't there, but something was. A piece of paper taped to the bench. It said, "We need to stop meeting like this. The others are starting to notice." I stood there for a full 5 minutes, heart pounding. Who was this? A prank? Some ARG I'd stumbled into by accident? I took the note home. That was my second mistake. That night I dreamed of her. But not like a normal dream, more like a memory that didn't belong to me. She was in a room that looked almost like mine. Almost. The posters were off, the outlets were wrong, and the windows looked out onto nothing. Just static. She said my name, but not aloud. It echoed in my head like a thought someone else was pushing in. "You're slipping," she whispered. "They'll notice soon." I woke up at 3:03 a.m. exactly. My phone was dead. Not out of battery, dead. No matter what I did, it wouldn't turn on until sunrise. Things got worse after that. I started seeing duplicates. People that looked exactly like someone I knew, my neighbor, the guy who runs the corner store, but something was off. A twitch too quick. A blink that never ended. A lag, like they were buffering. One night I followed one. He was my neighbor, Evan. Friendly guy, always asked how my day was. But when I passed him on the stairs, he didn't say a word, just smiled too wide. So I followed him. He walked 3 blocks in silence, then turned into an alley. When I peeked around the corner, he was gone, vanished. No doors, no exits, just a brick wall. Except it wasn't brick. When I touched it, my hand went through, like static. And I heard whispering. I don't remember getting home. I woke up in my bed, fully dressed, phone on the floor with a new photo on it. A blurry image of my room, with me sleeping in bed. taken from the corner near my desk. I live alone. I started researching, not on Google, that stuff is scrubbed clean. I dove into the deepest parts of the web, old archived forums, encrypted threads, data dumps no one talks about. There's a theory, fringe, unproven, dangerous even to speak of. Echoes, that's what they're called. Beings from parallel versions of our world. Most aren't sentient, just ambient noise bleeding through. But some are aware. Some are looking for a way in. They target people on the edges, loners, insomniacs, those who live digitally, people who slip between routines and don't get noticed missing. People like me. I found a private forum called Refractions, 37 members, all sharing similar stories, faces that change, memories that don't line up, messages that appear and vanish. I posted mine. That's when she messaged me. Her username was simply 11B-7C. She said they saw you touch the wall. That's how they tag you. I asked who they were. She replied, not who, when. They're not people. They're points in time collapsing into flesh. You saw yourself because that's the version closest to breaking. Stop looking, or you'll bring more of them through. And then her account was deleted. I haven't slept in 2 days. My mirror glitches now, not metaphorically, literally. My reflection moves before I do, and sometimes it smiles when I'm not. I've sealed every reflective surface in my apartment, covered my screens, disconnected from the internet, but I still hear them. Sometimes from inside the walls, sometimes from inside my head. They don't speak in words. It's more like the feeling you get when you forget something really important, and it's just out of reach. Last night I dreamed again, or maybe it was a vision. I saw myself, thousands of me, standing in rows, every version slightly different, one missing an eye, one burned, one smiling too wide, and in the center, her, the girl in the yellow coat. She walked up to me, handed me a note. I remembered it before I read it. It said, "This is the last time you'll wake up here." And this morning, something's wrong. The coffee maker is on the wrong side of the counter. My posters are slightly off-center. My phone shows the right date, but my texts are in a language I've never seen. And someone knocked at the door asking for Isaac. That's not my name. I don't know whose apartment this is anymore, but I can hear the static behind the walls, and it's getting louder. You ever notice something small in your house and think, was that always there? A crack in the wall, a tile that's a different shade, a draft you swear never existed. Most people shrug and forget, but I can't. Not after what happened in my basement last October. I live in a duplex in Vermont. Old place, creaky floorboards, basement that smells like mildew no matter how often I clean it. Nothing fancy, just inherited from my uncle after he passed. I moved in alone. No roommates, no pets, just me and 1,000 cobwebs. It was a Wednesday night when I noticed it. I went downstairs to reset the breaker after a short blackout. I've done it dozens of times, turn the corner, pull the chain light, flip the switch. Routine. But this time something felt off. The air was colder, and not drafty old house cold, but freezer burn cold. Metallic. My breath fogged up in front of me, which had never happened before. Then I saw it. A door. At the far end of the basement where there used to be a wall of cinder block and pipes. Now, plain as day, a heavy wooden door with a brass handle and peeling white paint. It looked old, like impossibly old. The paint curled like tree bark. The handle was tarnished green. There were deep scratches around the frame like something had tried to claw its way out. And the thing is, I know that wall. I stored my tools there, I had a pegboard, and now it was just gone. replaced by this door. My first thought, maybe I'm losing it. Maybe I never really looked close before. I even called my friend Nate and asked if he remembered anything odd about the basement. He laughed and said, "Bro, your basement's a shithole, not Narnia." But I had to know. So I opened it. It was heavy, ice cold to the touch. When it creaked open, I expected a storage room or an old crawl space. What I saw was wrong. It was another basement, not mine, but also mine. Same size, same shape, but cleaner, newer, and somehow darker, even though the lights were on. Everything looked too sharp, like a 4K version of my own world. And in the center was a chair, just a plain wooden chair, facing away from me. And someone was sitting in it. I couldn't move. My body literally froze at the threshold. I don't know how long I stood there, but I swear time slowed down. Then the figure in the chair turned its head, just the head. No body movement, just a slow, unnatural twist like an owl. It was me, but not exactly, paler, sharper, and the eyes, jet black, no pupils, just voids. And he smiled. That's when I slammed the door shut. I didn't scream, I didn't cry. I just stood there, heart hammering, hands shaking on the doorknob. I backed away slowly, turned, ran upstairs, and didn't go down for 2 days. But the door didn't go away. It was still there the next morning. Only now it wasn't closed. It was open a crack, and something was on the floor in front of it. A small piece of paper folded once. I picked it up. My name was on the outside. Inside it said, "We switched once. You didn't notice. You won't again." I dropped it, slammed the basement door, barricaded it with furniture. Didn't sleep for 48 hours, but then things started to change. Small things at first. My favorite mug now had a chip. A photo on the fridge showed me at a wedding I never attended. My middle name was different on my driver's license. I FaceTimed Nate and asked if he noticed anything weird. He blinked and said, "Since when do you have green eyes?" I've had brown eyes my whole life. Then I checked the mirror, and he was right. I started researching parallel universe theories, Mandela effect, all of it. And the deeper I went, the more stories I found. People swapping places, timelines bleeding over, doorways that appear and vanish. Some say the boundaries between realities are thinner in places of trauma or old buildings or during intense emotional events. My uncle, the one who left me the house, died in that basement. Massive stroke, found in the dark, sitting in a chair. I never thought it meant anything. But now I'm not sure this is even my body anymore. Because at night I dream of the chair, and in the dream I'm the one smiling. Last week I finally went back down. I had to. The door was wide open and the other me was waiting. He didn't speak, just nodded toward the chair like it was my turn. I stepped closer. My hands moved on their own. But then I noticed something behind him. A second door, smaller, hidden in shadow. He turned, just for a second, and I ran. I slammed the door and ran upstairs and burned it shut, literally. Gasoline, lighter, smoke alarm screaming. I thought it was over, but yesterday, a knock. I opened the front door. No one was there, but on my welcome mat, another note. This one said, "The door is inside you now." And I swear, ever since I can feel it. In the back of my mind, a pull, like gravity, like something is just waiting for me to close my eyes and switch. I don't know how long I've got, but if you ever see someone who looks just like you, don't follow them, don't talk to them, and whatever you do, don't open the door. You ever hug someone you've known your whole life and realize halfway through the hug that they're not the same person anymore? That's what happened with my brother. His name is Daniel, my twin. We were born 3 minutes apart and spent almost every day together until he went missing in 2021. It was a hiking trip, solo, something he'd done a dozen times before. But this time, he never came back. That was 2 years ago. We searched the woods for weeks. Drones, dogs, volunteers, nothing. It was like the forest had swallowed him whole. They found his campsite, his gear, his phone, but no Daniel. I mourned, I grieved, I gave up. Until 3 weeks ago when he knocked on my front door. Same clothes he was wearing the day he disappeared. Same scar under his eye from when we were 10. Same voice. But it wasn't him, not really. He looked tired, like he hadn't slept in years. His eyes were slightly off, like they weren't tracking me right. His skin was cold, and when I hugged him, he didn't hug back, just stood there, stiff as a board. "Where have you been?" I asked, trying not to cry. He said, "I don't know." He didn't explain how he got back, just said he woke up in the middle of the road 10 miles from town. Said a truck driver picked him up. He couldn't remember the last 2 years. Said they were just black. I tried to get him to talk, to eat, to shower. He barely said a word, just kept staring at the corners of rooms, watching shadows, flinching when dogs barked. Then that night I caught him standing in my kitchen at 3 a.m., not doing anything, just standing there in the dark, facing the wall, whispering. I asked what he was doing. He said, "It doesn't know I got out." Over the next few days, it got worse. He didn't recognize our childhood photos. He didn't remember our dad's funeral. He didn't laugh at jokes we used to share. And when I asked him what his favorite food was, he just blinked and said, "Whatever you eat is fine." I brought him to the hospital. They ran tests. Nothing wrong. Vitals were normal, CT scan clear. The doctors said trauma, that he needed time. But one night I heard him talking in his sleep. At first it was just mumbling, then clear words. "The sky bleeds light at the edge. The mirrors lie. Don't let them find this place." And then he said my full name, not just first and last, but middle too. The way he said it didn't sound like love, it sounded like inventory. One day I found him on the computer. He had dozens of tabs open about parallel universes, multiversal bleed, reality displacement, entity mimicry. Forums I'd never heard of, buried deep in the web. When I asked him about it, he shut the laptop and said, "I had to find out which version this is." That night I checked his browser history, and I found this line typed into a private notepad. "If I kill the original, this one stays permanent." That's when I stopped sleeping. I started locking my door at night, hiding knives, keeping my phone close. And still, I didn't want to believe it. I wanted to believe he was just broken. That maybe trauma had warped his memory, not his identity. But one night I caught him in my bedroom, just standing over me while I slept. When I opened my eyes, he didn't flinch. He just said, "Do you remember the coin?" That shook me, because when we were 7, we buried a Canadian coin in the backyard. A dumb thing. Just something to dig up later, only we never told anyone. So I asked, "What did we carve into the tree nearby?" He blinked. "What tree?" he asked. I ran. The next morning he was gone. Just gone. No note, no bag, nothing on the cameras. But in my email was a scheduled message, sent from my own address, time stamped 4:23 a.m. All it said was, "If you're reading this, I didn't win. If he's still there, he's not me. Bury this message. Burn your mirrors. Stay in the light." And then a single attachment, a photo, black and white, of Daniel, or something that looked like him, standing in the woods, but behind him was a crack in the sky, like shattered glass stretching open into a blinding void. And something tall was crawling out of it, I don't know who or what walked into my house, but if there's one thing I've learned, some people who come back aren't really people anymore. Smash that like button, subscribe, because if these stories vanish, at least you'll remember who told them. If they aren't from this world, then where the hell did they come from? Glitches in reality, vanishing people, and entities wearing human faces like masks. These aren't just stories, they're warnings. You think you're safe just because you believe in logic. Parallel doesn't mean far, it means next door. I'm Disturbing Jack, and these were disturbing encounters with beings from a parallel universe. New horrors every week. See you on the other side.